Hey, are we on? Hey, we're on. Hey, everybody. Inside today, March 18th, 2024. Everybody have a good St. Patrick's Day? Yeah, I made corned beef and cabbage. So I'm gonna have that after this. And oh boy, what a week. It's I don't know, probably about 6 or 7 in the morning. And here with Zazoo, Leslie the little Plazz here, Zazoo Plazz, my friend. I decided it's kind of a little chilly today. This is the east facing direction. So the sun's kind of up already, but you can sort of see in the background, that's my view. I don't know if you can see. The sun is kind of coming up. People are taking off for work. And I'm doing my Zazoo report Monday morning after St. Patty's Day. I try different things. I see what works, what doesn't work. So today, what a week. Oh man. Well, I decided, okay, so I've got a little story to tell before I start in with the, my reading and everything that I do. Oh man, I need my pen. When I get pen on my face, it's like one of those handlebar mustaches. It's look at this thing. It rattles. There's a whole bunch of these. Like when I moved in, there's apparently a tree. I think it's a catalpa tree. It's leguminous trees. And my kid, the forestry expert, he told me what it was. I think it's a catalpa tree, but these little things, they look like banana peels, right? Like when your bananas go really bad and they get all brown and it's kind of creepy, dead, But they're all on the ground out there. Nobody's raked them or anything. So I thought this would be kind of a cool thing to include in the Zazoo report today because it's I hope it doesn't have like bugs in it or anything. I'm gonna have to bring it back outside after. But I thought instead of me going outside and wrestling with my camera and the wet, ground outside and everything, why don't I bring the outside in? So that's where I got the idea for this thing. And it's kind of, anyway. But the story behind, there's a story. So last Thursday, last week I talked about my Uncle Johnny passing away. So we had pictures. Oh, that's what I can do. I can show a little bit of this. Okay, so this is the background first. We went, they had the wake, and I saw my cousins and, gave my paid my respects, and, he had the box, he was in the box, and, the little tiny box. And, then we had the funeral procession, and we went to my old church where I grew up, where he, spent his whole life. There's my uncle, his little mass card there. And and then we ended up, after there, did the procession, and we went by his old house, which is on like 5 minutes away from where I grew up, around the corner. My aunt and uncle and my cousin lived like 5 minutes away from me. So I used to pass their house on the way to school. Sometimes she and I walked together because we were in the same grade. So it was really kind of sad, we went through the whole town, and it was old-fashioned in a way, to think that he spent his whole life, he was born in the next town over, but he settled in the town that I grew up in and spent, his whole life there, working in Hartford and this and that. But and then we ended up at the cemetery, which is right where my mom is buried. So many things that I wanted to. I didn't know that he had the chance to play for the Brooklyn Dodgers. I guess he was a, in the B. He played. I don't know, amateur. No, not amateur. He was in the. I don't know. He played baseball, but he was really good. But he decided that he was just going to go back to Connecticut and raise his family. And that was a decision he made because he said that he didn't like the lifestyle, being on the road all the time, and some of the habits that he saw the other players getting into. He said that wasn't for him, so he went back to Connecticut and raised his family, and that's his story. But long story short, all right. So we go to the cemetery, and I look, they had everything set up, and I look, my mother's grave was right there, and his was, next, and they don't have his stone yet because, it just passed. He and my aunt are going to be buried there next to, where Mom is now. So I look, and there's all of these pods, the same pods that are in front of my apartment are in front, the same tree is where my mom is buried. And I said, oh my God, no, of course nobody else would have known that except my younger son, who wasn't there because he was on school break and nobody knew where he was. He's probably making maple syrup up at UConn. But I thought, wow, that was really kind of unusual, that I've never seen one of these trees before, and yet there's one right in the cemetery where my mom is buried, and it's right out here. So, maybe she was around and kind of helping me find a place, because she told me, I write in the book, she said not to hang out at the cemetery. So I really only was there once, and I never went back after, she was buried. Because she told me not to. She said she wouldn't be there. So, so I thought that was kind of an unusual story to tell. When I start thinking that, these things, they're isolated, but then all of a sudden they make sense and they fit together and they, So, so right after the funeral, and we had a nice lunch at the, my cousin set it all up over at the golf club, country club place. And, so that was nice. And then after that, I said, I just kind of feel like going and looking at mattresses, because I had put off getting a bed because it was kind of expensive, and I'm like, I don't know. And then my former husband said something about, I don't know, it was something he said about our bed, like where we went and got our bed, which used to be Sleepy's, but they renamed it to some other mattress place. But it was the same place, and that was like the best bed ever, But now I gotta get my own. So I said, okay, I'll go there. And it turned out they were having like this friends and family sale, and it was like $400 off the mattress, and then another few $100. So it was like I saved like over $600. I paid for the whole bed, and I got one of those box spring. Nobody gets those anymore. But I like to sleep high. Not like high, but high off the ground, because I'm a mountain type. So I said, well, I'll just go. And the guy, the salesman, was like, he looked like Ben Stiller. And he even sounded like Ben Stiller. I said, oh man, I'm sold. As opposed to the other place I went, and there was this older boomer lady, And she talked to me for like an hour and a half, and it just wasn't the vibe. This place I went in 10 minutes, tried 2 different mattresses. I said, I like that one, the firm one. She had me going for like this hybrid thing. Like, I said, oh, I like that. I'm a firm, who knew I was a firm sleeper, But you go, and I always went, the last time I bought a bed for myself was when I bought my condo in the late 80s. And I went and, they didn't have as many mattress types to choose from there. It was just like, get a mattress. I don't know. And then they had to go and, come up with new math and new mattresses and all these things. So, I don't know. Life used to be simpler back then, or is it just me? But anyway, so yeah, I got, and then I'm going to have to get a headboard, and you can just tack it on. But I thought, oh, they got all these things where you could get like a bookcase one, and then you could put books in the set, because I got stuff, When I don't just go to bed. I got my tablet, and I've got books, and I got crystals and eye masks and things, And I got Zazoo, because she's the first thing I see when I wake up in the morning. She gives me that look, like, you're a badass, you can do this. She's looking at me. But, yeah. So anyway, I took a little stroll through the scriptures, just for ha-has, and it's strange that we just had the funeral last week, and then there was St. Patrick's Day, and then St. Joseph's Day. Oh, that was the other part. Before I get to this, I'll come around. So the guy's like the Ben Stiller guy. It's like, oh yeah, well, the guys are going to deliver your mattress on Saturday the 16th, right? So I had turned, apparently I was so tired after the funeral, I didn't give the guy at the store my apartment number. And I still had my phone on silent mode, from the funeral home. So they were trying to call me and text me and say, and I was just passed out, exhausted, sleeping. And so they're like trying to call me to see where the heck I am. And they didn't have my apartment number, and my phone wasn't working. So it's like they gave me a 2-hour window, and I woke up like 4 hours later. I'm like, where the heck is my mattress? So I called up the guy, and he's like, we were trying to get a hold of you. Where the heck? Oh, I'm sorry. So, but I'm good. I can wait. So he's like, oh, we'll deliver it. Calls me yesterday. He's like, oh, we'll deliver it Tuesday. Sorry for that. And Tuesday happens to be, it's my ex-husband's birthday. It's my grandmother's birthday and St. Joseph's Day. And my mother's family my great-grandmother was really devoted to St. Joseph. She, they had a thing. And she was somehow, I don't know, connected to, either he was a distant cousin or something. Blessed Andre became a saint. Andre, Sat, I think his name was, in Quebec. So he was known to be a healer, and he took up GoFundMe, crowdsourcing for his cathedral or place that he built, up on a mountain in devotion to St. Joseph, right? So I said, oh, that's amazing. So I'm getting my bed on St. Joseph's Day. And so my former spouse, his birthday is St. Joseph's Day, and his unofficial middle name is Joseph. His parents didn't give him a middle name because his mom thought it would be too much, what with the last name Plazz and everything. So, but that was kind of like his unofficial. And then my oldest son's middle name is Joseph. Leo Joseph, who I write about in the book, my Pipe, that was his middle name. So there's a lot of Josephs, in my life. So I said, oh, that's perfect. Isn't that nice? St. Joseph is blessing my bed. So that happened. And then, and the scripture, there's Ezekiel talking about God opening the graves and people rising from them. The sentinels waiting for dawn, and it just happened to be dawn. So, in other words, there's this idea of, like an immortality, just what you infuse with spirit, right, becomes sacred, right? Even if you're just talking about, an earthly body, but if your focus is on higher things, on glorifying God, on doing something that is sacred to you, you infuse something with a meaning that is beyond everyday life, then it will take on that quality, In other words, you will live on, like my uncle. A lot of the silent generation relatives that I had, they were so devoted to family and community and faith and all these things. It's really admirable. These are the people who raised me, these silent gen people. And there's something really, special about that. I don't, in my generation, Gen X, I think, we were raised with that, and now we're growing up in a world that doesn't value those things. And it's sometimes, I think we have to move beyond some of those things. And when we were younger, growing up, my thought is that maybe we seemed older than we really were, than we even are now. I mean, I feel younger than I did, even in my teens and 20. It's silly, but I had a sense of responsibility growing up, that, a seriousness that came through, having expectations placed on me, and, going to church. And I had to go to church the other day. The priest was just rattling on, and it was just, my ears wouldn't listen to it. It was just this, na, 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 na. It's like the teacher in Charlie Brown, wah, wah, wah. The things that they thought were sacred, the silent generation who raised us, we felt like we had to buy into that. I felt like that was placed on me. It was a yoke that was placed on me that now I'm starting to find I don't want to be defined by that anymore, because it wasn't mine to start with, that's why I read the Bible. I read all different kinds of things, and I piece together little bits that resonate with me, But it's not that somebody is forcing me to take that on like I used to, It's becoming clear to me what is for me and what is not, and what I can leave behind and what I want to take with me. And there's nobody, once all the people used to tell you that you had to be, made you feel like you had to be like them. Those people, that's my past. And I'm realizing that these words, God is today. God is not, in some dusty volume, from eons ago. God is in the moment, right? So these words were meant to, be and the Bible and all that that came before was fine for then. But now we have living words. We almost are beyond language, you know, because God speaks to us in, you know, tree leaves and things like that. In other words, we don't, you know, if we pay attention, we get messages, right? So then I'm reading in the Gospel, John. It was the one where that, you know, friend of Jesus, Lazarus, is, you know, Mary and Martha are his sisters, you know, and the three of them are friends of Jesus. And Jesus found out that he was sick and he waited a couple of days. So Lazarus died. And then he went and he said that he did it for the glory of God, right? When he told Lazarus to, you know, come out, and he essentially raised him from the dead. He did that so people would believe, you know, so there'd be witnesses that he did this. But it was for God, the glory of God. In other words, to glorify himself as the Son of God, so that people would believe that he was really sent by God. So I thought, oh, this is a no-brainer. The song of the week, Glory of Love by Peter Cetera. I love that song. It was from, it's the hero will live forever. I'll be your hero. You know, you've been thinking of. So Jesus was the hero, right? He went, and people said, oh, he's gonna, you know, if you had been here, you could have prevented this. Well, no. He wanted that to happen. He wanted Lazarus to die. And it sounds, you know, counterintuitive, but this was, you know, was almost a precursor to when Jesus would rise from the dead himself. So, you know, you get this image of you know, so this song, okay, it was 1986. It was released around June 5th, June 7th, 86. It first hit the Billboard Top 100. So Peter Cetera wrote it with his then wife and some other guy. He originally wrote it for the movie Rocky IV, but they didn't want it. So then it ended up in Karate Kid too. And it was his first hit single after he left Chicago. And it was also nominated for a bunch of awards. I don't know if it won anything, but Academy Award, Best Original Song, a Grammy Award. He performed it at the Grammys too in '87. And yeah. So, I mean, The Glory of Love, just one of those 80s songs that just make your spirit soar. You just make, you know, it's so romantic and just so, you know, inspiring. We did it all for the glory. Well, I'm not going to sing the whole thing, but yeah, it has, you know, it's one of those songs, came out when I was in college. I was, 20? Was it 20 when it came out? Yeah, it was in my junior year of college. And, you know, I'm a very sentimental person. I thought, you know, every new relationship that I had, it was, oh, it's glorious. You know, for the first few months or glitter, you know, whatever. You know, and then I'm on to the next thing. But, you know, and I'm like that with a lot of things in my life. You know, once the glory wears off, I'm on to the glorifying the next thing. What can I say? But that said, there are some things I'm really devoted to, you know, and I do them because I can't, because in my own way, it's my way of glorifying the God through the gifts that He's given me, through the things that I feel like doing, and the path I feel like taking. That's kind of the way I do for the glory of love, right? For the love of it. Not for any fame or fortune for myself, although that would be nice. But I do it just for, because I love it. So, to me, that's a life philosophy. If every day I can wake up and say, I'm going to do something that I really want to do today. Not because somebody's making me, just for the love of it. Just, and that is, when you make that sacred, what you do is sacred to you, right? Nobody can tell you that, you have to do it, or that you're trying to be like somebody else. You're doing what you were put here to do, right? That's how you glorify God, through your actions, right? So what it can be anything. Whatever you put that love into, that living spirit, that goes with you, So even though your body might turn to ash when you leave it, your spirit is lifted up on these things, my uncle, is the things that he loved, being, outside and working, and his family. Those are the things he spent his time on, and those are the things that live on, he lives on through the things that he put his energy into. And so it is with all of us, That's like Karate Kid, right? His glory was, rising above his own limitations for something he perceived to be a higher calling, right? So for me, it's just silliness and humor and goofy, little things like this. So, and making my corned beef and cabbage, which is pretty good actually. And I watched my Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. I'm halfway through it, so that's my big plan. I'm going to do that, and wait for my bed. Then I gotta go get a rug and sheets and all that stuff. That can wait. I probably need sheets though. A mattress pad maybe. So, I'll get inspired. And I'll listen to some more Peter Cetera. Inspired me. So, until next week, that's the Zazoo Report. Go out and do something glorious this week. Yeah. Do something that really gives glory to, I don't know, to your spirit. And enjoy it. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.